Hey everybody, welcome back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane at the wall that says it all, and we are going to talk all about Yannick Ngakoue here, and he's worth talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
He's been a fantastic player for the Jaguars. We talked about him the entire offseason with the contract. This has little to do with the contract.
Correct.
This is more about what he did on Sunday. The pick six was the big play, but it wasn't his only play.
Yeah.
So let's begin and get right into it, and as always, I like to remind folks that if you're listening, we appreciate it on ESPN 690 in your car or ESPN690.com. You're streaming us. That's great. We'll try to keep you, even though this is a little bit of a visual, we'll keep you informed and try to illustrate this as well as we can on the audio side. But we always invite you to go back to some of the social media platforms as well, Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Twitch, and you can see exactly what we're talking about, maybe even later on when you get a chance to do so. So here we go.
Yeah.
We begin with the first play. We're second quarter, inside 2 minutes to go. In the first half, Jaguars lead it 3-0 in that low-scoring affair. And in this formation, Yannick Ngakoue is at, well, the top of the screen, top end of the screen. He's in that right defensive end position.
Correct, yeah. So basically what we have here from the Bengals, we have a 2-by-2 look, which means there's 2 wide receivers on the left side, 2 wide receivers on the right side. Now, the running back motions from the opposite of Ngakoue's side, so that the right side motions to Ngakoue's side. Now keep that in mind as we progress forward.
Okay.
And the reason why I enjoy breaking this down is because Ngakoue is playing for a contract, let's be honest here. And the big knock of him, well, some people want to say last year, was his ability to stop the run, right?
Undersized, they
if
say.
there's any question marks about Ngakoue, it's the fact that he's maybe a little undersized in his ability to stop the run. Well, some of these plays right here may put some of those rumors to bed a little bit, all right? So like I said, we got a 2-by-2 look, and the running backs lined up to his side. Okay, so now as we go down here, let's see how this play develops.
And right now the ball has now been snapped.
Correct. The ball is snapped right now. And listen, as far as the defense is concerned, I can go to my grandma right now in Iowa, Wisconsin and ask her, where does Ngakoue have? She's going to say the C gap. He has the outside. I mean, there's nothing, this is basic standard stuff right here. Ngakoue has the outside. But here's where, and we've heard Calais Campbell say this before, and I've said it before on this segment as well. Sometimes you can't be a robot. You have to be an athlete. And this is a prime example of Ngakoue using his instincts and becoming an athlete. As the play develops right here, and keep in mind, when he's a defensive end, he's not looking at the tackle. He's looking at the ball. He's looking inside of him, right? So any defensive end knows this. If you're in your stance or if you're in a 2-point stance, you look down on the line and you see the ball. You don't concern yourself with the tackle. As he's looking, as the ball is snapped, something flashes in front of him, and it's the guard pulling. The guard is pulling away from him, okay? So that's telling him one thing. If the guard's pulling away from me, that means, well, I can go inside because there's no way the guard's going to pull and they're going to pitch outside, right?
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't make any sense.
He'd be on an island.
Be on an island, exactly. So Ngakoue realizes this. Ngakoue looks inside, sees the guard pulling, and realizes, you know what? I can make a play right here. So instead of just playing his C gap, he understands the guard's pulling, something's probably coming to him, and he swims inside.
All right.
Now,
before you get there, this last illustration, by the way, there's a bunch of activity in the line of scrimmage.
Sure.
Josh Allen is running on the left side and running toward Joe Mixon, who now has the football in this part of the formation or this part of the play. And Yannick Ngakoue is beginning his swim move because of all the recognition that you just said. And there is a big gap over there because that left guard pulled.
Yeah.
So there's a big gap. He notices it. Mixon's still in the backfield with the football. And it looks like a pretty good-sized hole.
there is a big hole there.
On the left side.
Exactly. And now let's keep in mind, we talked about this before too. Like Calais Campbell said, sometimes you want to be an athlete, not a robot. Well, in Carolina, when Calais tried to do that, what happened? 88 out the gate. Chris McCaffrey had a good fantasy day for everybody. But right here, Ngakoue knows that the play has to come inside of him because if the play was going to go outside, they have to pitch the ball.
Yeah.
There's no way Dalton can hand the ball off to Mixon, and then Mixon can make that cut outside.
Before you go a little further, what is that recognition? Is that experience in the league? Is it film study? Where does it come from?
You know, it's a little bit of everything. It's knowing the formation. It's understanding that the running back right now is on your side. He always knows that, right? So once the running back is on your side, there's only so many things that they can do. It's also experience. It's also noticing the guard is moving down. You know, I mean, if you're a rookie defensive end, sometimes I feel like you just want to make it. Like you just want to make sure you don't screw up or anything. But as you get more reps, as you progress, then you can start noticing the little nuances, like the guards pulling, like where the running back's out in the backfield and things like that.
One last question. Is this elementary from a recognition standpoint? Football people should know this, and a football player of his stature should know this? Or is it a bit more advanced?
You know, this is a bit more advanced because he commits to it so fast. It'd be one thing to see, all right, so the guard's pulling, maybe I'll just peek inside for a second. He commits like that, you know? And with one thing with Yannick Ngakoue, he has the explosiveness. You know, he has athleticism. People want to say he's a little undersized. Well, anytime you have good ball get off, you have good explosiveness, you can easily make up for that, right? So that's what he does here. So this is more of an experienced, kind of like a pro bowler type play right here.
You talk about athlete, you talk about athleticism, you talk about get off, you talk about motor.
Yeah.
Well, the last frame of this illustration, man, doesn't this say Yannick Ngakoue all over it? I mean, it looks like Bobby Orr scoring right in front of the net and diving across the ice, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, Brent, I'll be honest. You don't need me here to break down this screen cap right here. All you can see is Yannick Ngakoue is 2 feet off the ground, Superman diving into Mixon and trying to make the tackle. Now, he doesn't make the tackle.
No.
Miles Jack comes to clean it up. But he disrupts the entire play. He causes chaos. And anytime you're playing on the defensive line, your main goal, whether it's in the backfield, on the line of scrimmage, you want to cause chaos. And right here, Superman is causing chaos.
I'm telling you what, they're going to take this segment to that Jags front office. In contract negotiations. They're going to take this segment right here.
And listen,
eventually, when we're done with it, they're going to take this 10, 12 minutes, and they're going to say, look at this guy. And to me, this frame shows what he's all about, man.
So, Jan, I mean, if you get a little cut, be sure to send some my way. But listen, I'm a little biased. It's up to me. I don't think the salary cap exists. If I was a GM, I'd be going into the games after the wins. You get a bonus. You get a bonus. Josh Lambo, nice field goal. Here's a little bonus for you. So,
One last thought, just to encapsulate this for people that are just listening.
Sure.
Yannick Ngakoue is in Superman position. Because Mixon did get through the hole to a degree. But the only way to slow him down for Yannick is to throw his body. I mean, just not care about his body at all. And at least slow him down for Miles Jack to make a play. Heck of a play.
Well, let's keep in mind, too, if Jan isn't here making this play, who knows what happens?
It's one-on-one against Miles Jack. He can bounce it outside. All those things might be a big gainer.
Correct.
All right, let's go to number 2 here on the wall that says it all. Once again, we're on ESPN 690. You're listening to this. We're on ESPN690.com. You're streaming us. Hopefully you do that a lot. But you can also watch us on the video platforms. And this is what we want to give you a little bit more of on the video side of things, because it's a great illustration of a guy that's turning into, I don't know if great is the word, but very good to great to elite. Who knows where the ceiling is for Yannick Ngakoue. All right, take us to, we go backwards a little bit in terms of chronological order. And this is 2:59 to go in the first quarter. And this will be a play that looked like a reverse.
Correct.
That Yannick Ngakoue ends up making a big tackle for a loss.
Huge play.
And by the way, this is a huge play because it felt like, you know, there's some momentum on the Jags side, but it got shifted to Cincinnati with all that field position change, if you remember. So this kind of knocks Cincinnati off their rhythm.
Exactly. And keep in mind, this is a copycat league in the NFL, right? So here's why I say it's a copycat league. We have trips to the left of Ngakoue. So there's a tight end on the line and then trips on the other side. So there's 3 receivers lined up across from Ngakoue. Why I say it's a copycat league? Because this formation coming up right here is a lot like Carolina ran, all right? And
where they seal everybody?
They seal everybody, and it's all about confusing the defensive end. It's about confusing the linebackers. You know, it's having that cannon fodder in the background, making them guess a little bit. Well, Yannick Ngakoue right now was on his P's and Q's, because as the play develops right here, he understands that the tight end goes down. If you're in a wide 9, Brent, if you're standing up in a 2-point stance and the tight end's supposed to come out to you, but he goes down, something's probably coming back. So Ngakoue feels the tight end going down. So that can either mean a couple things. It's going to be a boot. It's going to be kind of like this handoff reverse that you're seeing here, or it could be like a quarterback rollout. But he knows something's coming back, because why would they leave him wide open like that? So he understands that. So his keys go from the tight end to the next guy up. So Ngakoue sees the tight end go down, and now he's like, all right, what's coming at me?
And I'll tell you what, in this frame, next frame, there's a lot going on here.
There's a lot going on.
I'm not sure. Does Cincinnati even run this well? Because there's 4 players in about a 3-yard space.
Yes.
And I don't know who's getting the ball eventually. But, you know, eventually this is just a little bit of a pitch to the wide receiver. Again, it kind of plays like a reverse.
It does. Absolutely. You know, and listen, we have defensive linemen going one way, defensive linemen going the other way. I mean, we don't know what's happening right now.
And let me interrupt you, because this is a good way to beat the Jags defense, because they're fast and a lot of times over-aggressive.
Correct.
So anything misdirection, of course, catches the Jags. You know, and sometimes you can catch good players being overly aggressive.
Exactly.
And the Jaguars have been beat on that in the past. This is an attempt to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So now, if you're an okay player, if you're a decent player, what Yannick Ngakoue would probably do right here is get underneath this cutter and try to make the play going towards Mixon, because everything is dictated with the fact that the ball is going to go outside opposite field to him, right? So Ngakoue is thinking, all right, well, maybe I can just cut inside and make the play. But Ngakoue is not just he's not just a basic player. He's a little more experienced. He's playing for a contract. He's got a lot on the line. So Ngakoue, he understands the fact that there's a puller coming his way. Whether it's a tight end, a running back, or wide receiver, something's coming his way. Ngakoue is not concerned in the backfield right now. He's not looking in the backfield. He's looking at the puller coming his way. And he understands that if he takes on the puller, and I'm not saying when I take on the puller with two hands, just with your shoulder, stay in square. We talked about it before on the show, Brent. You want to stay square. If he stays square, he can make the play. So basically what happens is the puller comes to him. It's a wide receiver. I like my odds on a wide receiver on Yannick Ngakoue.
Me too.
The wide receiver
it's Austen Tate is who it is.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a big wide receiver.
Don't get twisted. He's like 6'4", 6'5", 250. So call him a tight end if you want. Either way, I like my odds with Yannick Ngakoue.
Austen Tate's not calling him undersized.
No, exactly. So basically what happens is Austen Tate tries to block him, and Ngakoue says no thanks, sheds the block, and makes the play 10 to 15 yards in the backfield.
Yeah, and it's a big loss on this play, and a huge loss. So, again, these are two illustrations of Yannick Ngakoue against the run.
Correct.
He has been – it's not even that he's been criticized. Mm-hmm. What people do is they try to poke holes. Okay, where are your weaknesses? Where are your strengths? Well, his strength is as a pass rusher and been knocking that football away, right? Forced fumbles early on in his career. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, what is he maybe less great at, less good at? Well, that would be against the run because he's not 255 pounds, and maybe just that's the knock against him. So my question is, if that's the knock, is he getting better against the run? Is he going to school on the run? Is this a focus from his standpoint of saying, I am going to be better in 2019 against the run? And are these illustrations of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a few things. I think it's a guy that's taking pride in what he does. I think it's a guy that has heard, people talk about how maybe he lacks the run game a little bit, so he took that to heart. I think it's a matter of fact that he's getting more experience now. He's seeing different looks and everything, and maybe studying film a little more. And when you put those things together, that's when you make these great plays, in the backfield. Now, don't get it twisted. Yannick Ngakoue is not built like Khalil Mack. He's not your prototypical, base 4-3 defensive end. But he doesn't have to be. People have this preconceived notion of what a good defensive end looks like, right? Whether it's Khalil Mack or Julius Peppers back in the day. It takes all shapes and sizes. Von Miller, good at playing the run. Guess what? Von Miller, Brent, probably like your size right now. But Von Miller's on the shorter side. Size doesn't matter, man. If you play with get off and have aggressiveness, you can make plays. That's what Yannick Ngakoue did right here.
All right, time does matter, so we have to move on here on the wall that says it all. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane. I did notice that off the wall is your shirt. Very nice.
I like that.
For the wall that says it all.
Didn't plan it, but there you go.
Our last illustration, and a play that only two players in Jacksonville Jaguars history have made from the defensive line position, the pick six for Yannick Ngakoue.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, I want you to hear what Yannick Ngakoue saw, and then you can describe it. We'll put a bow on this segment here on ESPN 690. Check it out.
Coach Rebs always talk about just reading screens and things of that nature, and I felt like a soft set from that tackle, and I could tell when 25's in the game, he's more of a passing running back, 28 is more the runner, so I kind of figured it was like kind of a screen.
That's Yannick Ngakoue, student of the game, right?
You have to be.
Coachable player. Film room, all those things. I think you heard it from Yannick Ngakoue. He showcased it in a pivotal. This is the decider, man. You could say number 91 won him the football game on Sunday. This is the thing. This is the play that stretched the game out.
Absolutely. So let's go to it quick. So same kind of formation here as the first play we broke down. 2-by-2, basically two wide receivers on the right side, two wide receivers on the left side.
And bunched up.
And they're bunched up. Yep, they're tired of the line of scrimmage, okay? We got Yannick Ngakoue sitting on the right side of the formation, kind of like in that 9 technique. There's a tight end split out, but he's basically in a 9. We'll call it a 9. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Taven Bryan and Yannick Ngakoue, they're going to run a game. A game I like to call the text game. What does a text game mean? Tackle first and second. So, Brent, one of the hardest things I had trouble.
Can we run the game on right now?
Yeah,
can we do it?
Run the game?
You want to be Taven Bryan?
Okay, yeah. So I'm Taven Bryan. You're Yannick Ngakoue. Okay,
good. He's gonna make more money. So.
Yeah, we'll see. So basically, what happens is if you're rushing right now, I'm Taven Bryan. I'm going first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in front of you, and I'm going to set the pick on the tackle,
and I'm going
right around me. Exactly.
Simple as that. That's
Simple
the game.
As that.
Okay.
So now here's what Taven Bryan. Listen, the hardest thing to do as a defensive end or defensive tackle that I learned coming up in the league is to identify the screens and the draws. Why? Because especially on a 2nd and 10, it's a passing situation, right? Like you have your ears pinned back. You're ready to pass rush. You're ready to get paid, right? You get some of those quarterback sacks.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to recognize sometimes that the offensive lineman, they want you to overcommit. They want you to go to the quarterback and try to sack him, right? Because that's when you
Setting you
set
up.
the screen. They set you up a little bit. So now here with Taven Bryan's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Taven Bryan he's the game setter. He's the guy that's going to set the pick for Yannick Ngakoue. Taven Bryan sets the pick. Now the tackle that he sets the pick on wants him to go upfield, right? Because that's part of the screen game. Taven Bryan has no idea right now that the screen's occurring. Why? Because he's setting the pick. He just thought, you know what? I set a good pick. They didn't know it was coming.
Here I come. I'm going to get a sack.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, Taven Bryan's a lot of things. Probably the top one, aggressive. He has really good aggressiveness, and hopefully we'll see that this Sunday as he's getting the starting spot. So we have the aggressiveness here of Taven Bryan going to the quarterback, Dalton. Dalton sees this, obviously. He's a little nervous.
And
now,
we're on the screen grab we're on, if you're just listening.
Yeah.
I mean, Taven Bryan now is about a yard away from hitting Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's about ready to throw off his back foot.
Yeah, exactly. So now we got that. So now let's go down to
We flip this
Ngakoue.
around. This is a 180 view of that.
So this is you. So you're coming around second, right?
Yeah.
Now you would think, well, you're kind of coming around scot-free. Why not keep going? Well, Ngakoue, once again, the eye disciplined, the instincts, they take Ngakoue to the ball. When Ngakoue comes around, he understands that the guard takes him for a split second. The guard kind of pushes him, but doesn't go with him, which makes zero sense if you're Ngakoue.
A little bump and run by the guard.
A little bump and run. As soon as Ngakoue feels that guard bumping him, just kind of give him a little push, but not like a usual pass set, Ngakoue knows something's up. So once he knows something's up, he stops rushing after the quarterback, and he retraces his steps. So now when they say retrace your steps, all that means is you go back to where you came from because it'll take you to the ball. So Ngakoue stops, retraces his steps, and goes back to where he came from at the defensive end position. What happens after that?
Well, the pick.
Yep, the pick. Taven Bryan puts pressure on Dalton. Dalton throws a bad ball. Ngakoue goes back to where he came from. Ball right in his hands. 888 out the gate.
Pick
Touchdown.
6, and look, Stuart Weber would like us all to acknowledge
that's Stuart
that.
right
That's
there.
Stuart Weber right there with
Nicely
Yannick
done.
Ngakoue running right at him.
Very nice.
But anyway, this is all like what Yannick just said earlier, just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
His film preparation, because Giovanni Bernard, 25,
Correct.
not 28, Joe Mixon is
Yeah.
in the game.
Yeah.
So he's like, wait a minute, sometimes they like to do this. On top
Exactly.
of that, the feel, the
Yeah.
instincts, and then making a play. By the way, some guys drop that football.
Absolutely.
It's an easy play,
Yeah.
but those guys aren't receivers.
Yeah.
They're big men rushing the quarterback for
Yeah.
a reason, showed good hands, obviously athleticism, walks into the end zone.
Yeah,
basically.
showed great hands, athleticism. You could tell he's a defensive lineman because the celebration was a little lacking in the end zone, but it's okay, man. He still got the points.
All right, well, here's the deal, Yannick Ngakoue. I think we just got you more money.
Yeah.
Bring this to the front office.
Yeah.
This is it in a nutshell.
I
This
got
is
you.
a resume game,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Absolutely. No, I mean, this is a statement game to say the least, because I get it. Defensive ends, when teams are evaluating defensive ends, it's all about the quarterback sacks, the pressures, right? Well, you know what's better than a quarterback sack or a pressure?
Pick
touchdown.
6.
A touchdown. Yes.
That's Austen Lane. We're here at the wall that says it all. Yannick Ngakoue playing some really good football in a contract year.